Okay, I did it right that time. Okay. I like having them so I can put them on my YouTube versus the cloud with the weird link and all the weird passwords that it gives you. So it is October 17th. Before I kick off like our actual team Zoom, double triple. Lindsay prayed for it this morning. She said a little prayer in one of our chats, and there it is. So if anybody needs anything, send Lindsay your prayer request because she's on fire today, basically. But you guys, it's been a while since we've had double triple. So I'm not going to go over what double triple means because the faces on here don't need that. But I will say, please share with your team what it means. If you aren't able to do that yet, or you've been busy, that's okay. Other leaders are doing it and they can absorb that for now. But I promise in the end, hearing it from you is very helpful. So double triple launched. We have a big training tomorrow night, the GOAT training. We have a training on Thursday for Thrive Connect. Corporate is really upping their training schedule, which takes some of the pressure off of those of us that typically train. So I think that's kind of nice. I'm super stoked for Saturday so far. We have 12 Dream Team members traveling to Toledo. So I'm super excited to see all 12 of us up there. I just think it's going to be fun. It's just we all had fun when we went in 2020 before the shoe drop. So I'm anxious to get to see everybody again. Okay. So I think that's all the housekeeping, unless I forgot something. But so if you look, I forget even what I just typed on the cover, but basically like, what are you here for? Like, so this morning on my walk, this is when I do my best thinking, is when I'm on my walk. I know there are a lot of people who struggle to push themselves in business because they have a good enough house. They have a good enough car. They have a good enough savings account. They have food in the fridge. They have a good enough amount of money to buy Christmas presents, right? Like it's good enough. Like things are good enough. Like why should I ask for more, or why would I work for more? Well, I'm here to tell you that you're not put here to be good enough. Have you, and this is just me coming out, have you seen a flower bloom? Have you seen a child be born? That shit is not good enough. That is like what this earth was made for. Like I was in the room when Adam Frisch was born. That'll change your whole life. Watching a baby be born, that's a miracle. And all day, every day, we are surrounded by miracles. But yet for us, we settle for good enough. And let me remind you, you are a miracle. The sheer fact you are alive and breathing, you are a miracle. There were a lot of sperm headed in that direction that night, and yours might not have made it, but somehow it did. It was the right sperm to the right egg, and that made you. There's how many, like I should have looked this up. I forget how many the odds of you being born are, but it's small. You are a miracle. So I'm not saying you shouldn't be grateful for the good enough house and the good enough savings account and the good enough meals that you have. I think you should be grateful for everything that you have, because even though we're a miracle and we live in a land full of miracles, nothing is guaranteed and nothing is promised. None of us are entitled to live the most amazing life. Yet specifically for us here in this country that we're all in, we're allowed to have the most amazing life. We don't have restrictions on our dreams. We don't have restrictions on our goals. We are women, and that's a really big deal. 1974, I think, was the first year women could get credit cards. That's the year I was born. Now you can get a credit card, you can get a house, you can get a boat, you can go get an airplane if you want to work hard enough for it and you want to do these things. So I don't know what it is that's in people's minds that holds you back, but good enough is not good enough. You are meant for more than good enough. Look at your children, look at your husband, look at the people in your life that you love. Do you not want the most amazing things for them possible, but yet you're settling for good enough for you? Why would you do that? I just don't get that. And I know I sometimes I struggle with good enough. We have a great house. I went to the grocery store today and I did not have to think twice. I was able to buy what we needed to buy. Prices suck and I could be mad about it, but I could still afford it. But that's because of this business. If I wasn't in this business, if I hadn't joined this thing 7 years ago, I don't know how I would feel about groceries right now. I don't know how I would feel about my day to day. I might be working for someone else, and we all know Tammy cannot work for anyone else. I would probably be super freaking miserable, bitching and moaning all day long about my life and how I have to go to work to pay these bills and blah, 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 blah. But because I wanted better, I don't settle for good enough. And I know some people will sometimes hold back like what your dreams are. And I know originally, like when people would start asking Tom and I what like our long-term plans were, and now I'm just very comfortable. We want to move. We want to build a house on some water. I want it to be this nice house for us, but big enough also to have guests all the time. I want to be the house that people come to. I want people to come and stay for a week or two at a time. That's what I want. And I'm not ashamed of wanting that. Yes, we have a great house now. I'm not saying that we don't, but I want a better house. I want to be in a better location. I want flowers blooming all the damn time. I don't want these freeze warnings like we have tonight. Sandra says, I listened to the podcast and he said nothing. And like he said, nothing and no job is guaranteed. You can do more. Yeah. I mean, I forget where or when I shared this, maybe last week, but my dream was originally to go to college to get a really good job. I got a really good job and met some really nice people who'd been there their whole freaking life. And then I watched them get escorted out the door with a cardboard box with all their shit from their desk because they were getting so tenured with the company that they were starting to cost the company a lot of money. So they got laid off. They got a severance package and sent out the door. Nothing is guaranteed. I don't care what education you have. I don't care what kind of time you have in with the company. I mean, companies aren't guaranteed. That company escorted people out. Some companies just have to close. And then what are you going to do? But you guys are actually in charge of your day-to-day when it comes to this. So I need you to think, what are you working for? What is it that makes you show up? I know why I show up every day. And yes, I do have my heart wrapped around several of you and several of your goals. And I care tremendously about all of you getting where you want to go. But I also care about my goal. I know where I want to go. I know what I want to do. When I say I want to be that house, I don't want that house to have me house poor. I don't want to have a mortgage off the yin yang. I don't want to have that house and not be able to put food in it. I want to be in a position where I told you guys this. I want to be able to send my nephews a plane ticket and be like, come see Aunt Tammy. Like that's where I want to be. So yes, that's still giving, but that's also very selfish. And I'm okay with that because I wasn't put here to just be okay. I wasn't put here to be miserable 6 months out of the year because I live in freaking Ohio, right? Like grandma's fully asked for, yeah, it's the house. And that was the dream that they always had. They wanted to have a place for their whole family to come. And it's grown. And some of you have been there. So it's even spread outside of that. So it was like that small dream that they had that then overflowed. And I can guarantee you, my grandparents worked every single day of their lives for their family. And you guys, they didn't need more. Trust me, they had everything they wanted and more. But they kept working because they knew that it wasn't guaranteed. And, you know, for every, like, think those of you that have kids, you're working for your husband and your kids right now, right? Or you and your kids, whatever the situation is. Well, guess what? If you're lucky, that kid's going to grow up, fall in love with someone, they're going to have kids. Now, all of a sudden, your one kid turned into an in-law and maybe 2 little offspring. So you got to keep working. You got to think big picture for stuff like that. You can't just be there for the moment and the time. You got to think, what do you want to be? And I know it's kind of cliche and people say it, but you have to wrap your mind around, what do you want your legacy to be? This is not a 9 to 5. You do not clock in and clock out. No one makes you come here. You're here because there's something that you want. You have to decide what it is, because there are going to be days that you're going to be like, screw it. Sally was a bitch. Shipping is messed up. This girl had a sample and it turned her eye pink. I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Or there's going to be times where you're like, I haven't had a new customer in 3 months. I must suck. I better go get a different job. It's going to happen. No one said this was going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. When you guys look at the people on the stage and you're like, oh my gosh, have you seen her? She worked to get up there. She didn't fall out of the sky. She worked. She had people who didn't like their samples. She had people whose shipping got lost. She had people who told her no. But something made her work for it even harder. This is going to sound mean, and I don't mean it to sound mean. But when you get in that mindset, you're being selfish. You're being self-absorbed. And it's weird because I know a lot of you are like, well, I don't want to do better because that would be selfish. No, no, that's the complete opposite. You're being selfish by not pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. You're being selfish by not sharing this with someone else. You're living in your own little comfortable world. That's good enough. Things are fine. If I can't do it this month, maybe my husband can help me with the groceries this month, or I can pull savings, or I've got this credit card. I've got a cushion. That's selfish. When you are just living in what works for you, that is the ultimate selfish. So yeah, does it suck to send extra messages every day? Yeah, does it suck to have lots of no's? Yeah, does it suck to deal with some of these problems? But is that what opens up opportunity for everyone else and the rest of the world? And is that how I can shine my light brighter on other people? Is that how I can get closer to my goals, by like getting outside of my comfy home? We just had dinner really quick. I got home from work. We sat at the table. We had dinner. We take turns every other night. I pray or Tom prays. Tonight was my turn. And I was like, thank you for this house to keep me warm, because it's freaking cold in Ohio. So I'm not ungrateful for what I have, but I also know that I just know I'm not put here to be mediocre, and neither are you. None of you are. You see, because someone needs this as an option. Yes. You guys, when I think back to the fact that if Lindsay had been like, no, it's fine. My house is fine. My daughter's okay. I don't need this. None of us would be here. None of us. If Lindsay had said no, because she was afraid her friends would talk about her, none of us would be here. And I don't know about you, but this Lavelle business has completely changed my life. I did not take vacations prior to Lavelle, and you all know how much I love a vacation now. It's my favorite thing to do. I did not have a guaranteed paycheck before, and it's not guaranteed because it's commission, but that shit comes every Tuesday at 1:00. If you've ever owned your own business, you'll go months at a time without cutting any kind of checks to anybody except the electric company. There's no overhead. There's all these amazing blessings that this business has brought. It's opened these doors, but when the door opens and the breeze comes in, it scares you. And so you shut it because you're fine. You're fine where you are. But if you were truly fine where you were, here's my big question for you. If you're truly fine where you were, if I came up to you today and said, do you have the body that you want? Do you have the finances that you want? Do you have the home of your dreams? Do you have the savings account tucked away? Do you have the health that you want? If you can't answer yes to all of those, then there's more work to do. Now, some people may be going to their job Monday through Friday and they may freaking love it. And that is that to me makes a job wonderful. If you love your job, that's amazing, but you're still here. You're still here on a Monday night for the Zoom. So there's something in your life that you want, or you wouldn't even show up. Am I right? You wouldn't even be here. So I need you to think, what is it that I'm settling on? What am I settling for? Shantae says, you're blocking someone else's blessing. Absolutely. And again, you just have to remember, and I know it's hard because I was raised the same way. We were very fortunate growing up simply because my grandparents worked so hard and built a legacy. That is the family I got to be born in. My mom started working there when she was 13 and she just retired last year, and retired doesn't really mean retired when you have a family business. She's there all the time. I don't even know why I was telling you this. Oh, but so I had a very comfortable, I want my own finances and I want other women to have theirs. Yes. Sam said, I'll tell you this, if you are made for more and you don't move, Jesus will move you. And sometimes it's not a fun move. Yes, it is out of your control. Yes. And I'm telling all of you right here and right now, you're all made for more. We're all made for more. Till the day he takes your last breath away from you and brings you home, you're all made for more. Think for just a second. If you've ever seen the galaxy, like the galaxy, the Milky Way, and you see like some planets and there's these other things, I forget what they're called. Anyway, like if this is the galaxy, this is Earth. You're on Earth somewhere. Again, the sheer fact you're breathing is a miracle. When the sun comes up in the morning, that's a miracle. When shit revolves around each other and they don't collide into each other and stars don't land on us and all this weird crap, that's a miracle. So when you wake up and you think it's another day, I got to send more messages. I'm not going to get this new promoter. Nobody wants to buy my Thrive. You got to stop yourself and look out the window and remind yourself that you literally live in the middle of a freaking miracle. You guys, gravity, have you ever thought about gravity? Some weird shit. Like everything that happens for a reason, including you being here, including you showing up on this particular Zoom right now or this recording right now. If you're coming on Monday nights repeatedly, or you're coming on whatever Zooms you show up for, it's because there's something in your heart that you want. And I don't know what it is. You have to figure it out. And you have to decide that no matter what, it's worth working for. And I'm going to go back to what I talked about last night on the power play. And if you guys missed it, you can watch the replay. When I say what you're working for, I don't mean doing your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I mean, what are you working for? In addition to your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then what do you do? Then who are you talking to? Then how are you moving the needle for her? Then what is happening in your business, in your life? If you are just showing up and doing your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and calling that work, like I said last night, that is just opening your front door, flipping your sign to open and sweeping off your sidewalk and letting people in. Once you've done all that work, I mean, that's literally the first 5 minutes of opening a store, right? Now you got to work for the rest of the day. So be intentional. And it's so much easier to be intentional when you know what you want. And so, yes, vision boards are amazing. Affirmations are amazing. Saying prayers are amazing. But what I find is you can do all that stuff and still not truly, honestly know what you're working for. So you need to do the hard conversation. Why? Right now, you could be watching TV. You could be having dinner with a friend. You could be in the bath. There's a million things you could be doing right now, but you're here. So why? What in your life is good enough? And on the flip side, what in your life is great, outstanding, and amazing? And how wonderful do you feel when you think of that? Every other aspect of your life is meant to feel that way. Not saying it won't be challenging, but you are meant to feel that way. We were given the ability to feel so that we could fully experience the world that we were put into. Again, that was not a mistake. That was not some random thing. Like that was a miracle that you got all of those things. And if you ever, like some days I'll just like start questioning all the things. And then I'm like, what would my life be like if I suddenly couldn't see? We're pretty damn different. Like I think of the things I love to see. My nephews, my flowers, my dogs, right? Like I love to see things and I was blessed to see things. That is a miracle. So did I see my nephew one time and say, good enough? Seating, good looking kid. I'm cool with it. I'm done. Taking the week off. No, I'm like literally trying to build a house so I can see them more often. Right? Did I plant one flower and be like, well, that's good. I saw a flower bloom. No, if you've been to my house, you know it's a problem. I have a problem, but it's okay. I could be selling drugs, but I'm not. So I want you to think, what is it you want? What are those things that you love to see, that you love to hear, that you love to touch, that you love to be a part of, that you want to do more of and have more of in your life without judgment? Don't worry about what your neighbor thinks or your mom would think or your pastor would think. What's the what would you do if you couldn't fail? What would you have if you knew you could have anything? Because I'm here to tell you, you can have it. You can literally have anything. There are people there with the meme, like the person who made the pool noodle. I mean, come on. Tell me they don't have a yacht and a private jet and everything else at this point. And that was for a pool noodle. That was like a one and done. You can literally have anything you want. So why do you stop yourself? Why do you settle for good enough? Like, I always relate this back to my day job. Like when people are like, well, I'm going to work out. I'm going to lose a couple pounds. I'm going to miss some of my workouts. I'm going to cheat a little on the weekends. Okay, so do you really want to be healthy or do you want to be good enough? Are you trying to like not have to be put on heart medication or do you really want to be healthy? And when you explain it that way, people are like, oh, well, yeah, that makes it clear. Same, your job, this career, this job, this opportunity that's in front of you, it's the same. Do you really want to build a legacy for yourself, or you just want to be good enough? We all start, no, I shouldn't say all, most of us start, and we need to start using our commissions to crawl out of debt. And then you find yourself out of debt. And then suddenly you buy a purse and you get your nails done and you go on a trip. And you're like, oh shit, there went that paycheck. And then you start realizing you need to save this money. And then you can literally take that money and you can invest that money and you can build from it. So no matter where you are, maybe you're in the process of still needing to get out of debt. Okay, cool. Work for that. That's important. Right? Jesus said, don't owe people. Right? Let people owe you. Be the person that people can owe because you have so much to give. So get out of debt. Use this, your baby step, get out of debt. Number 2, treat yourself to a couple nice things, but don't go into debt. Number 3, let this money build you a legacy that you can then pass on to someone, anyone. And like sometimes I'll have these thoughts in my head, like we don't have kids. So obviously I'll leave everything to my nephews. But if they didn't need it, like, gosh, what would I do? Would it all be worth nothing? No. Let's pretend that my nephew, like both of them become some famous people and they're millionaires on their own. They don't need anything. Well, great. Then everything that I built, I can give to some homeless kids or some, single parents, or the more you produce and multiply, the more you have to share. You remember Jesus made the loaf, the one loaf, the 40 loaves. He shared all the food with all the people. No one thought there was enough there. That's your life. You think there's not enough there, but there's plenty there to share. So every time you start thinking about your one loaf of bread and how you got to keep that for your family and how you worked really hard for that one loaf, and you just keep yourself in this tight little selfish ball of I'm okay. Remind yourself that there's a whole world out there that you could be helping. You could be giving back to people. Your sense of community and your sense of, I don't even know just the joy of seeing smiles on people's face. You could be working for that. Right? So it's not always about what the money buys. It's what the money manifests into. So let's pretend that you buy a yacht someday. Yes, you could float around it all by yourself in your little selfish world, or you could take, what is that, where they take the kids that are sick and you get the miracle wish something or whatever, right? You could do something like that. So anytime you start feeling yourself being okay that you're good enough, I want to challenge you to stop and get creative and stop being good enough. Like, okay, this is good enough. What can I do better? How can I make this better? How far can I go with this? How far can I take this? Because you guys, this is, and I have this conversation with myself all the time, this business is, this is just crazy awesome. Like I think one of the hardest parts about this business is getting someone who is in a regular business to understand how different this is. So, and I know there's some entrepreneurs on here and you guys have had rent and you've had electric and you've had inventory and you've had employees and you've had all that before. And then you get here and you don't have any of that stuff and you're actually making money, which that's life-changing. And some of you are on total flip side of that. You've only ever worked for someone else and you don't really understand how all of this works or how it could work without it. It doesn't matter. It does. You don't pay for your website, right? You don't have to have inventory on your shelf. If you want commission, you have to reach your $100 minimum, but that $100 doesn't even have to come out of your pocket, right? You can have a thriver with 2 thrivers that is thriving for free, and those credits that they put on their order counts towards your $100 a minimum. So anytime you feel yourself stopping because of money, remind yourself that that's fear. Money is just energy. It comes, it goes. Fear is energy. It comes and it goes. And what is it Mel Robbins says? Like fear is the same as excitement. It's just a little different. Like the breath is different. So like I said, I don't know. I just wanted to, there are so many of you that I see that have it good enough and you're happy good enough. You say, but then you show up here every Monday or every Thursday at a local or every whatever, right? So I know that you're not really happy good enough. And I want you to, it's okay to admit that. It's totally okay to admit that you're not really happy with just good enough, that you want more, that you want to live the miracle that you're supposed to be living. And I know I probably sound like a crazy woman, but for real, think about a baby being born. Think about your own babies. When they were born, you didn't say, well, I hope they have a good enough time here on earth. hope they have some fun while they're here. No, you're like, oh my gosh, the world's their oyster. They could do anything. They could be anything. I'm going to help them. I'm going to have them do all the things. Help yourself. Best thing you can do for your children or your family is to help yourself and show them what can be done. And moms, you know that. Kids see everything you do. They hear everything you say. They literally are watching. And I feel like now with social media, kids are really watching all the time, all the things. Sometimes I forget how many kids are on my social media. Like, oh, Aunt Tammy dropped the F-bomb today. But I am who I am. So are you with me? I know there's no answers. I just want you to think. Next time you feel like it's good enough, be grateful. And then ask yourself how it could be better. Like I did my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 today. It's good enough. I got it done. How could it be better? Right? I sent my message to this girl. I offered her a sample. It's good enough. How can I make it better? And then realize too, there's a whole world, a community of people here to support you with that. So if you're newer and you're like, well, I sent the sample offer, I know how it would be better was if I could put in a move gel also, but I don't have any of that. Send a freaking message. There's a million of us here. I bet one of us has a move gel we can help you with. Right? So be open to help, but most importantly, help yourself. Because I know it sounds selfish, but it's not. When you help yourself, you can then help others. It's the whole put the mask on you before the plane. It's very cliche, but it's freaking true. All right, now real quick, totally changing gears. I asked Sam to be on here, and first she wasn't sure she could, and now she's on here. So Sam is doing a challenge, the hundreds challenge, and some of you will remember it, but I wanted her to share with you guys. She's doing it specifically in her chips and salsa group, which is her accountability group. But I like the way Sam's doing it versus the way I've seen it done in the past because of all the Post-it notes. She has a much better method. So I'm going to let you, or I'm trying to get you to unmute, but it won't let me. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so yes, I am sharing it with my chips and salsa group, but I'm also sharing it in my team page. I'm not really necessarily privately doing anything. I'm just the people who really want to listen are the people who are in the chips and salsa group, really, because those are the people who are, wanting to work. But I don't know if you guys remember Beth Graves talking about the sticky note challenge. I have attempted to do it several times. My husband gets real annoyed because Post-it notes take up a lot of space, and 100 Post-it notes really takes up a lot of space. And so it kind of gets on my nerves too, because I'm like, oh, this is such a great idea. And then you get to it and it's like, okay, this is just too much. 100 is a lot. So I decided to do it with index cards. So I worked on my little box today. This is my 100. This is a lot smaller than a giant poster board thing. But what I did first was write all the names down. I made my own sheet. If you want it, I will share it with you. There's 100 names on here. There's 4 rows of 25. I went through first, I made a chicken list. So people who I am terrified to talk to or intimidated to talk to. I went through my free customer accounts and found people who have never ordered in the past, but have accounts. I went through and found people who, because I've been here 7 years now, found people who maybe they ordered years ago, but they need to come back. Like people who I want to thrive. There's no like method except 100 people is a lot. But y'all, once you get started, like TJ was like, man, he did this with me. Imagine having to live with me, right? TJ did this with me and he's like, man, I have more names, but there's not more lines. So, that I can't do a whole other sheet because then you'd have to fill in all the lines to be, OCD compliant. So I went through and found like people on who I can't remember who the speaker was who said, like, when people are liking your stuff and you don't invite them into your party, you're just leaving them out. Oh my gosh, you guys, I went back, I made a post a while ago. I don't know if y'all saw about For those of you who get talked too much on your report card, what do you do for a living now? There's like 90 something comments on there. Most of them I don't speak to. Don't even know who they are. I went through and found people who are just liking my posts and not commenting. So many that I just didn't realize. And like I was telling my team, like, shame on me for not. Like, I'm over here thinking I'm so frustrated with just talking to the same people. Conversation's not going anywhere. I need new people to talk to while I let them make up their decision. Timing is everything. They'll come around, but I'm done beating a dead horse. So, man, this was so awesome because today was the day. So yesterday I did my list. Today I put them all on index cards, and I'll tell you what my tabs are. They're all organized in tabs. But there is one girl over here. Her name is Kelly Meredith. She freaking commented on my status today about wanting a sample. How much is it? And I sure as shit got her a sample. I got her a free customer account. I got her in the Vibin' and Thriving customer page. She's in a group chat with Tammy. And I wrote her name down. You guys, the power of writing it down, like thinking, like not only did I write her name down once, I wrote her name down twice. I'm manifesting these people. I'm writing their names down. I'm thinking about who they are and why they need Thrive and all of this stuff. And she's asking for a sample today. I actually got 2 samples out today. I haven't got a sample out since I don't even know. So my tabs that I have made are vision board people. Okay. These are people on my chicken list. Basically, they don't have a free customer account. I've never talked to them about Thrive, or maybe I have, and it hasn't got very far. People who have a free customer account, but have never ordered are in the other like big column. And then after that, it's people who are in the customer group. So Vibin' and Thriving is what I named it. Group chat is what I named another one. Sample is what I named another one. And then reach out is one and follow up is one. So I'll tell you what I did today. I took a stack of these out and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 10 a day. So I took out 10 that I wrote down, and I went to their page and I'm like, okay, do they have any content I can interact with right now? Some of them, it was so easy to just do. And then I took their card, I wrote on the back of it, reach out, custom conscious comment on their story and the date. And I moved them from my stack to reach outs. And then I'm going to leave them in reach outs until I follow up with them. And then I'm going to move them to the follow up tab so that they're actually, I can see them moving around in this little box instead of taking a sticky note off the wall and moving it to different areas, which is what she had done with her sticky notes. So yes, it's all the things of the funnel, all the labels of the funnel, but I'm just moving that card along so that when I wake up, you guys, I love lists and tasks and I love, writing things down, but this just makes it not on my phone. I like not having to look on my phone, and I'm not scrolling. I will get distracted by scrolling on social media, trying to find someone to interact with. I wrote their names down. I'm praying for them. I'm thinking about them intentionally. If they have a free customer account, I'm doing 5 people from my vision board people and 5 people from my free customer account list who already have a free customer account. And I'm just going for it. Some people, I passed their card up today because they haven't posted on their Facebook in 2 weeks and they don't have anything on their story. So, I'm going to do 10 a day. So maybe in 10 days, I can go back to their page and look again and see what I can do. And then I'll have everybody in a different folder. They're going to be in a reach out or a follow up. I might have a whole bunch of them in reach outs and now I need to move them to follow ups, but I'm just going to keep it never fails. I'm just going to keep recycling them until I go through all of them. So that's what I'm doing.
I love it. And I think I'm going to sneeze. So hang on.
Okay. My dog's
sorry. I just like when somebody else's dog is barking because it's typically mine. So I loved what Lindsay picked up on and you followed up with. It is the funnel. Like Sam said, and I should have pulled your message. She's like, okay, this girl wants a sample. I'm gonna put her through the funnel. I'm gonna do all the things. And how often do you get excited and you don't do all the things?
Thank you.
You know, like you don't think to put the customer in the customer group. You don't think to actually start there's all these situations where like, well, I don't really need a three-way chat yet. Just put them through the funnel. Put them through the funnel. Like, so maybe Sam thought, well, the girl just asked for the sample. I don't really have her in a chat yet. But then she ordered the sample, and then let's pretend that Sam goes hiking this weekend and she's out of town or out of service, and the girl gets her sample and she has a question. She's in the chat with me. That's why we do chats. It's not for us, it's for the customer. So
and you're exactly right, because I would have waited because she didn't really need anything. But I was so excited about my new system and that's what I had text you. She's got this. I gotta do this so I can have somebody in my group chat thing. Like I need to make sure that I'm doing it. So it's kind of exciting. Like I like a game board and I like, checking things off a list, but I like that all my reach outs for the next few days are written out. Yeah. Everything's written down. I can take it with me. And man, TJ was sitting with me on the couch because he worked from home today too. And when this girl messaged me, I got up, I got my paper out, I looked, I was like, I knew it. She's on my list. Like, she commented. That's good. I wrote her name down. And that was that. I had a conversation with her a long time ago. She didn't want anything to do with me selling it because her sister tried it and it didn't work for her. And she was just kind of wishy-washy. And today, how much is a sample on my post about a sample? And she's excited, isn't she, Tammy? She's like, oh my gosh,
she's very excited.
And who knows? If I didn't write her name down, I don't know if she would or wouldn't, but I'm going to choose to believe in the law of attraction. Yeah. And when you write shit down, that's why I don't ever do my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on my phone. I don't do any of that on my phone. I always, always, always write it down, because when you see it, you can believe it.
Yes. So I love the names already on the cards, because like you said, you don't have to figure out who you're going to talk to. That's been similar yet different to the Excel spreadsheet that I have, because I can highlight who I'm talking to for the day. I don't have to go look for who I'm going to talk to. But I love the card idea. And I have an index recipe card thing from years ago when Jamie Lindbergh taught us the customer service, and I never really got the hang of it. So now maybe I have a use for it. Lindsay, you wanted to ask a question, I think. I saw you like.
Well, I was just going to make a note, I went and stalked Samantha's page. The way that she made her post about the sample was awesome sauce. So kudos to you on that. You were talking about your kids, but then you put your little blurb in. And I like that, because sometimes we're always like, hey, you want to do a 3-day sample? Talk about something, then say I'm headed out to the post office. I like that. I'm sorry. I'm always going back and seeing. And you have another person that wants a sample. So 2 in one day, girl, off of one post.
But I love this example too, because it shows it. We've been talking, Lisa Cook said yesterday, every time she turns around, someone's talking about being intentional. This is intentional. This is the ultimate in intentional. She's not scrolling Facebook to figure out who to talk to. She's not just doing the alphabet challenge. She's not just randomly following. She's intentional. She picked these 100 people to spend time with. It's similar to Lindsay was picking particular people to connect with over and over and over. So there's no one right way to do it, but you'll see the people doing things. They're intentional about what they're doing. They're not what Lindsay says, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it sticks kind of thing. Like, it's a process, it's a plan. So I know you've had more training than probably any other team in the land, because that's just how we roll around here. I know you have I know you've heard somebody's idea and thought, that's for me. But have you done it yet? And have you done it for more than 3 days or even 3 weeks? I will confess, every day I send a screenshot of my Thrive Connect feed list to Samantha and Lindsay to show them I did what I said I was going to do. I didn't want to do it today. I flat out didn't want to do it. I drug my feet. It was way later in the day than normal. I had to talk to myself 3 or 4 times. I finally did it, and I basically sent it to them and said, I only did it because I have to send this to you. And so I was like a 5-year-old, but I did it.
What was it you had to send them each day?
I send them proof that I send my 10 Thrive Connect messages a day. So here what is it? So today was the 17th. So I've done it for 16 days. And on day 17, I'm like, bag it. I don't want to do it. This blows. I'm out. And honestly, had I not needed to send that to them, I may have said bag it and not done it today. So get yourself an accountability partner, stick to some shit longer than you've ever stuck to it before, and let it work for you. It's not even making it work, it's let it work. Like tomorrow, Sam may get another person who's on that list, and she might not. But that doesn't mean she's going to bag it and stop doing what she's doing, right? You got to stick with what you're doing. And I will say, I think the reason that Samantha is so excited about this and decided to do this is because she knows what she's working for. She knows what she wants in her life. She knows what she wants this business to bring to herself and her family. And so I like when you said you have a chicken list, to me, I'm like, shit, I'd be chicken to talk to Sam. There's nobody like, and when you all agree, would all of you be like, oh my God, if I had to go talk to Samantha Cox about selling Thrive, I would be like panicked. But we don't see that in ourselves, right? But I do. You should not have a chicken list. They should be afraid of you. Like you're coming to get them, damn it. So anyway, Lindsay, you can hear all the things, but are sticking to something, yes, for at least a month, not a week and then done. Absolutely. Also, Lindsay said, I'm a visual person, so send this shit to me. So she's talking to you, Sam, about your tabs and your list. So, okay, I kept you way too long. I know some of this might have been fun to hear. Sam's was definitely fun to hear. Some of mine not have been fun to hear, but it was on my heart and I wanted to share and I wanted to make you guys think. So have a fabulous week. And I'll see you tomorrow on some sort of training, I'm sure. Bye.